When I first started learning watercolor, I tried to excel at everything. Drawing, value, color mixing, composition, and good paintings were rare. Looking back, I wish I had focused on just one skill, the one skill that makes everything easier. And the truth is, a lot of self-taught artists don't focus on this one skill, and that skill is composition. But it can be confusing and overwhelming because composition and design elements overlap. I mean, it's enough to make your head explode sometimes. In this video, we'll focus on 3 compositional concepts: the S-curve that leads the eye into the composition, motion or movement of the crashing waves, and repetition, which leads to rhythm. By focusing on just a few compositional elements, you can start to use these in your next painting. I've started with the light pencil drawing on my watercolor paper. I first laid down some clear water, and now I'm working wet into wet to bring in the colors to the sky. I'm using Hansa yellow light, Hansa yellow medium, cadmium orange, a little bit of Perylene maroon, and a gray mixture that is a combination of Indanthrone blue, Winsor violet, and burnt sienna. Clearly, I'm making the sky up. I wanted something a little bit more dramatic than what was in the photo. Now, in this scene, the sun is way off to the right. In the scene, the way I'm painting it, you can't see the sun, but the sun is probably not exactly off to the right. Now what I'm doing is I'm dropping in some clear water to get some backwashes in the clouds, and that can help put in some sharp edges, which can really help with the detail in the clouds. I've waited for the sky to dry because I didn't want the distant trees and houses to bleed into the sky. This is the gray mixture that I had mentioned earlier, plus I've dropped in a little bit of shadow green and burnt sienna. Now I'm laying in the distant water, and watch as I increase the value, it's causing a backwash into the houses. It suggests spray and mist. All right, first wave. Here's the trick. You want to have color above and beneath where you're imagining the wave to be. I will go back and add in clear water, and what that will do is it will push the pigment away from the water and make it look like spray. I've slowed the video down so you can see exactly how I'm doing this. It tends to work better if the paint that you've laid down first has started to dry, because what you want is you want the clear water you're laying down to be wetter than the paint that's already on the paper. The colors I used were Indanthrone blue plus burnt sienna, and then I'm dropping in some shadow green and undersea green. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to put in the colors that are going to go on either side of the small wave as it rolls up the beach. Now the trick is that I've already laid in the top color, and if it starts to dry, then I could lose the effect. Right now I'm juggling both the small wave that's rolling up the beach and the larger crashing wave. So there definitely is a timing issue that's going on here. But as you can see, the small wave rolling up the beach, I did get a backwash. Here you can see the before and after. Now what happened here is the paint started to dry and I knew that I needed it to be wet in order to continue to get the effects I was looking for. So same approach, put the color on top and beneath where you want the wave to go. And really you need the area to be a little thinner than what you're imagining the wave to be because the water pushes the pigment out of the way. I'm also trying to get some variation in the size of the spray where it's not just the same size repeating over and over. Now if you notice where I just was brushing, the Indanthrone blue is a staining color and I didn't quite appreciate that till just now, and you can actually see it a little bit. I deal with it later on, but in retrospect, I probably should have used a different combination of blue with burnt sienna to get some bluish gray. I love Indanthrone blue. It's so deep, I just love its intensity, but it is staining and probably not ideal for this technique. You can see I established the wave, but it didn't have quite the right shape, and I thought it was a little bit too tall. So I went back with some additional Indanthrone blue plus burnt sienna grayish color, and I made those colors closer together, and I went back with some clear water to essentially do the spray all over again. And you can see it's a lot smaller, which is what I wanted. Now I'm adding a little bit of shadow to the spray. I wasn't entirely satisfied with the shape of the wave, and because Indanthrone blue is staining, I had to use a Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to scrub out some of that color. Well, my camera was off, and so you didn't get to see me brush in the sand, but it was the same concept as before, where I had the color of the water on top, the color of the sand underneath, and I went back with clear water and made it look like the water that's rolling up the sand. Now we want to create some more depth. So here's where I'm adding more value. This is a much more concentrated mixture of shadow green plus a little bit of undersea green to give it a little bit of warmth. This kind of contrast really helps add depth to a composition. So composition being the operative word today, what we want to do is we want to draw the eye initially to some kind of center of interest, which is the first third of the painting on the left-hand side, and then as the painting goes into the distance, those colors will get lighter and lighter, and that will translate as more distant objects. Here I am trying to correct the sand. It ended up having too much of a look of just water. So, and sometimes this happens if you look at the ocean when the waves are rolling in, that there are portions of the sand that have more water over them, and other parts of the sand are just wet. Okay, so did I do it? Did I achieve the S-curve? Well, here's one way of looking at it. This is kind of an augmented S-curve. This is a more simplified S-curve. I did include the rows of pylons, and the shape of the waves changed as I progressed through the painting. I got a lot more spray in some of the distant areas of the beach, but I liked it. I thought it added to the moodiness, so I kept it. Did I get movement? Did I get rhythm? What do you think? What would you have done differently? Let me know in the comments.